Hey gang, welcome to Yoga with Maria. I'm Maria, and today we're practicing beginner yoga for opening up the hips. This was a request from my dear cousin-in-law. His name's Nate, he lives in St. Louis, and he's an avid athlete. He loves to cycle and ski. So I'm honored to bring this class and video to life with some specific notes from him about his own hips. So give Nate some love in the comments below. For this practice, it's really important that we have support. So you need a pillow or a blanket, a pillow from your bed or the couch, a blanket from the same places. We also need support for the hands. So 2 yoga blocks works great. I know that a lot of us don't have yoga blocks at home, and that's okay. 2 thick books work really well for this. And if you don't have that, or maybe you're traveling, grab 2 rolls of toilet paper, or if you know that you have really tight hips, grab 2 paper towel rolls. So gather up all your stuff, make sure you're subscribed to this channel. Let's hit the mat. Okay, my friends, as you can see, I've got my lovely array of props. I got them all. Toilet paper, blocks, paper towels, as you can see, the different heights. And then I've got my pillow and a blanket. Try to put them in the middle of your mat or your space so they're about halfway. You can get them from if you're at the front of the mat or the back of the mat. We're going to start in hands and knees, so find your way there. Hands come underneath, or the wrists come underneath the shoulders rather. Hips stack over the knees. We're just going to start out with some hip circles. So press firmly down into the hands, chest reaches slightly forward, low belly pulls in, and then just start going towards the right, making circles clockwise. You can start small. And then see if you can grow the circle or the circle that you're tracing with the hips. Really leaning into the outer edges of the hips as you come around to the 3 o'clock and the 9 o'clock points. And as you're going through this, if you find any sticky spots, you might stay there and kind of work that spot a little bit more. Totally fine to close the eyes here. As you're doing this, begin to tune into your breath. Use the breath to guide you. Take 3 more circles on this side. And if you're feeling sticky and throughout the whole circle, just keep it moving. Just begin to warm up the joints. Good, and then come to center. We're just taking it the other side. So start little. You're going to the left or counterclockwise this time. Eyes can stay closed. Begin to grow your circle. Yeah, so the circle can get as big as almost extending the front of the hip completely and then bringing the seat almost all the way to the heels, almost as if you're going through a child's pose. Yeah, and then same thing, finding the sticky points and staying with it. Or if it feels better just to keep it moving, do that. Take 3 more big circles with the hips. For those of us that either sit all day or do a lot of lower body workout, this should immediately feel pretty good. Good, and then come back to center. You'll take the hands, 1 hand print forward, tuck the toes, and find downward facing dog. You can pedal out the feet right away. And then from here, you're just going to cross the right ankle over the left. So you're in a cross-legged down dog. You're really kind of crossed at the ankles and crossed at the knees. So make sure that the right knee is in front of the left knee. And then both knees will come to the mat. Obviously, the right knee will come down first, and then the left knee will nuzzle right behind the right knee. Look back at your feet. The ankles are going to go wide. Do your best so the inner edges of the legs are squeezed together, and then just make sure that the wrists are stacked over the shoulders, or the shoulders are stacked over the wrists rather. And we're just going to take some cat-cows here with the cross legs. So breathe in, let the belly drop down, chest reaches forward. Breathe out, round the spine, press into the hands. Your expression of cat-cow might be a little bit less than when your knees are in their normal position, so just be okay with that. Let it be as it is. Breathe in. Breathe out, round the spine. Inhale, belly drops, chest reaches forward, look forward and up. Breathe out, round the spine. Good, come back to neutral. Press down into the hands, tuck both toes, your back in cross-legged down dog. And then just come to regular down dog, right foot steps towards the right. And then we're just gonna take the other side. So left ankle crosses over right ankle, cross the right knee, the left knee over the right. Left knee comes down, tuck the right knee right behind it, and then take the tops of the feet or the ankles as wide as you can. You'll probably, the widest you'll go is about as wide as the mat, but do your best. Inner thighs squeeze towards one another. Same thing here, cat-cow. Breathe in, belly drops, look forward. Breathe out, round the spine, let the head fall heavy. Twice more, breathe in. Breathe out. Inhale. Exhale for cat. Come back to neutral. Tuck the toes, come back to downward facing dog. Uncross your ankles here. And then we'll just take tiny steps to walk ourselves to the front of the mat. When you get to the top, pick your poison. Paper towels, toilet paper, whatever you grabbed. Just take the hands underneath the shoulders, press down into whatever prop you have or paper, and just fold. Let the head fall heavy. You can sway the hips side to side if it feels good. It might feel better just to be still. Nice. From here, breathe in to look forward. Find length in the spine. Breathe out. Your left foot's going to step back. You're in a low lunge. So hands can come to the toilet paper or blocks. And then press down into your left hand. The right arm's just going to reach up. You're in a low lunge twist. As you do this, take the right thumb and hook it right at the right hip crease and just pull that hip back as you turn the chest up towards the ceiling. The gaze can go to the side or up towards the sky or ceiling. Take a breath in and out. Reach the right hand up and then take it all the way down. Grab your prop and place it inside your right foot. And then you'll just heel toe the right foot over towards the right a little bit more. So you're in a lizard pose shape. From here, you'll just tap the back knee down and untuck the back toes. Some of us will just stay here. We have some options. We're going to move through some variations. You can take little circles here with the hips. You might even come back to the little cat-cow motion in the spine. Noticing, again, where you have stickiness, where you can open just a little bit more. Some of us might bring our forearms to our props. If you're doing that, pull the knee in towards the shoulder. Some of us might take the right hand to the inner edge of the right knee and then let the knee open more to the right and come to the outer edge of the right foot. If you're doing that, there's a little bit of a leaning back sensation in the chest, in the back. Good, then you can rock side to side. Find a variation that feels like you're getting a little bit of an opening without pushing too much. So you don't want to be living right on the edge. You can see the edge from where you are, but you're not on it, if that makes sense. So you're just enough off the edge that you can breathe easily and comfortably. Bring the hands back to your props. I'm going to switch to my paper towels just for some of us that might be using the paper towels. I want to make sure we're demoing how we use each of these. The back toes are going to tuck, lift the back knee, and then straighten out your right leg. Pick up your blocks or your towels and walk them to the center. Your right toes are going to turn to the left. We're just finding a wide leg straddle in the middle. So prop yourself up, find a flat back, take a half lift, and then bend into the right knee, and then bend into the left knee. Twice more on each side. Take the right, and then the left. Once more right, and then left. And then from here, come to your fingertips. You'll just turn the toes out slightly and bend the knees more. Hands come to the inner edge of either knee, and then you'll just dip the right shoulder down Should feel kind of nice on the back as well, and then you'll dip the left. Twice more on each side. Take it to the left. And then the right shoulder. Yeah, the gaze can follow left shoulder. Come back to center. Power into the legs. Hands come back to your props, and then turn the toes back forward. Straighten out the legs. And then from here, we're going to walk it back to the front of the mat. Drop your back knee down. Oh, we got some nice fuzz happening from the paper towels. Okay, we're going to come into half pigeon pose. So, with the left knee down, heel toe your right foot over towards the left side of your mat. And then you're going to lean forward and place the knee down behind the right wrist. Some of us are going to need to bring the heel really close, like the shin is just going to be almost right under us. So from here, tuck your left toes and begin to scoot the left knee back so the hips can sink down towards the mat. All of us are going to have varying amounts of space between the right calf and the right hamstring. If your hips are tighter, pull it in close. You can almost be sitting on top of the heel. If your hips are a little bit more open, the shin can come closer to parallel to the front of the mat, but it doesn't have to become parallel by any chance. So find what works for you. If the calf and the hamstring are touching, it's totally fine. But what is really important here is to prop up. So that's where our pillow and blanket come into play. You're going to prop yourself up as much as you need underneath your right hip. So just keep tucking things under until you can really sit, like you could feel that the hip is supported, almost as if there's, the floor. So you could do the blanket and then do the pillow on top of that, and maybe you're here. And then hands can we still want the hands to be pressing down into something as well. So you can use your toilet paper or your paper towels or your blocks for that. And then look back at your left leg and make sure that it's straight back behind you. Some of us are going to just stay lifted and supported like this. You'll feel a big opening in the front of the left leg, and you should feel an opening in the right hip. If you're feeling pretty good and you want to take a little movement or explore this a little bit more, you'll breathe in to lift the chest, and then breathe out. You'll bend the elbows and fold forward. And then breathe in and lift up. And breathe out and lower the chest any amount. Inhale to lift up. Exhale, lower. And then breathe in, lift up. And then from here, you're going to tuck your back toes, press down into the hands or your blocks. And then eventually, once you're up onto the right knee, you can move your things aside and then just step to downward facing dog. Pedal out the feet. You have an option here to lift the right leg and bend the knee, open the hip behind you just to release any holding or tension that you had in the right hip. And then come back to down dog. Move our props back to the side, and you'll just walk the feet, small, tiny steps up to the front of your mat. Take a half lift, and then this time the right foot steps back behind you. Let's use blocks this time, just for variety. Press down into your right hand, left arm reaches up, you're in a low lunge twist. Left thumb comes to the crease of the left hip, and then just pull it back. You should feel this in the hamstring and outer hip, maybe even the IT band. Keep bending into that left knee, make sure it's tracking over the left toes. Left hip pulls back, and then turn the chest up towards the ceiling. Stay with your breath. Try to send breath to wherever you have tension. Just using the power of the mind to create openness and space with your breath. It's extremely effective. And then from here, the arm comes up and down. Pick up your prop, bring it inside the left foot, and then we'll heel toe the left foot a little bit wider. Left toes are still facing directly forward. And then tap that right knee down, untuck the toes, finding our lizard variation. Take a moment to feel it out. The hips can sway side to side. You might play with taking cat-cows. Try to remember what you did on the other side and then take it on this side as well. If you come a little bit lower or bring the chest a little bit lower, pull that left knee in towards the shoulder. And then you might even rock the hips forward and back. If you want to keep the toes tucked behind you and keep the right knee lifted, a really nice thing to do here is to just sway forward or come to the very tip of the right toe and then sling back and come to the ball of the right foot. And just take that a few times like this. Yeah, if the back knee is down and the toes untucked, you'll press down into the right hand, maybe take the left hand to the inner edge of the left knee, come to the outer edge of your left foot and let the knee go wide. Press into the knee and let the chest open. All of these are options. You don't have to do all of them. They're just ideas for you to get to know your body and your hips a little bit better. So try them all. See which ones feel right for you today. Maybe you can try another variation the next time you do this video. Come back to center. Tuck your right toes, lift the right knee. And then you'll begin to straighten out your left leg. Turn the left toes in. Walk your hands towards the center between the feet. Make sure that the feet are in line with one another. All 10 toes face towards where you're looking. Hands can come to the mat here. From here, we'll just bend into the left knee. And then bend into the right. Bend into the left. And then the right. Take it one more time each side, just keeping things fluid. Good, and then come back to center. We'll heel toe the feet a little bit closer and then turn the toes out. Bend into the knees. This time, you can bring the hands back to the knees or lift the torso up and take cactus arms for goddess pose. Breathe in, straighten out your legs, reach the arms up, look up. Exhale, bend the knees, sit the hips low. Twice more like this. Breathe in, lift up, look up. Exhale, bend the knees, sit low, pull that low belly in. Inhale, lift up, look up. Exhale, sit the hips low, pull the low belly in, keep pulling the knees back towards your back. And breathe for 1, 2, 3. From here, straighten the legs, turn the toes back in. Take the hands to the waist, put a little bend in the knees, and just take your hands back to your blocks. We're going to walk the hands and the blocks back forward. Turn the left toes forward. Flip up your right heel, and then just take the right knee to the mat. We're going to set up for half pigeon on the other side. So to start, heel toe that left foot over towards the right side of your mat or your space. And then the heel will likely have to come in towards the right knee and bring the shin onto the mat. So the left knee comes towards the left wrist. And then from here, you'll begin to tuck the right toes and then just use the toes to lift the right knee and scoot it back. Evaluate. Tuck the toes again, scoot the knee back, evaluate. Have something under your hands so you can walk back again. And then the hips will sink. Prop up underneath the left hip. So the hips are different on both sides. So you might need more props on the left side than the right, more props on the right side than the left. Just make sure that you're fully supported. Don't make the assumption that like, oh, because I use this on the right, it should be like that on the left. We're all pretty much uneven, including myself. Keep the hands supported on a prop and stay here. Take a look back at your right leg and make sure that the knee is in line with the ankle and the toes. Turn the chest back forward. Some of us will stay here and breathe. It might be nice to close the eyes. Send breath to where you have tension. Some of us will breathe in to lift the chest. Breathe out, we'll take the chest forward. Inhale, lift it back up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, fold. Breathe in to lift up here. And then you'll tuck the back toes, lift the knee. Come up back onto the left shin. Take your props to the side. Plant the hands, tuck the toes, come to downward facing dog. From here, once again, left leg can lift and then bend the knee, open the hip, and see if you can find some space in the front of your left hip. Just releasing. that pigeon pose. So nice. And then straighten the leg, square the hip, take the foot down, and then from here the knees will come to the mat. Take the heels to one side, sit the hips low, and we're just gonna come onto our back. Have some sort of prop nearby. I'm gonna have my blocks nearby, and I also wanna show you how you could do this with the old paper towel. Catch yourself behind the knees and slowly roll yourself down onto your back. Hands come long by the sides. Step the feet in so that the heels are close to the seat. And then press down into the hands to lift the hips up. Keep pressing down into the hands. And then from here, with the hips lifted, take a block on the widest, flattest setting and place it underneath the sacrum or the bony part of your low back. And then you can just set the hips down and stay here. We just want to create the opposite effect of the flexion that we did in the hip. This is helping us extend in the hip joint. You can stay here, or you might even place one more block underneath. This can be quite intense with 2 blocks, so you may stick with 1. And I want to show you what this might look like with the paper towels. You'll take just 1 roll, lift the hips, place it on the low spot, on the sacrum here. And you'll definitely fold the paper towel kind of in half, but it is wide enough to support you here, and it won't be nearly as high. If you're worried about your paper towel, you can always turn it the other way and squish it the other way. But this works, yeah. Stay here for another moment or two and breathe. And then we'll press into the hips to remove whatever support we have. Take the hips down onto the mat, heel toe the feet wide, let the knees knock in. Take one hand to the belly, one hand to the heart. Take a moment here to just notice how your body feels. And knowing that the most important thing is to come back and repeat these poses and these motions over trying to force yourself into them one time. So the key or the secret is practicing over and over again rather than forcing your absolute limit 1 or 2 times. So let that sink in a little bit as you let yourself rest and let all the hard work that you did incorporate into the body. I'm going to sign off from here. Thank you so much for joining me for this beginner hip video. You can stay here as long as you need. Looking forward to seeing you next time, yogis. Namaste. If you have tightness in the hips, it might be a result of having tightness in other areas of the body that are nearby, like the legs or even the lower back. So if you want to continue on, check out my video for lower body, hips and legs, and just take along the props that worked well for you in this video. Stay with it and just know that practice makes progress.